Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Well, if your primary objectives are to get noticed and to go fast, then this second generation of the Audi RS7 might be the car for you. And not just that, I have a huge list of spec sheet that I have, which I also have to discuss, but anyways, we are going to be doing that too. So without wasting much time, let's start reviewing this second generation of Audi RS7 Sportback. But before we move forward, please make sure to subscribe to this channel by clicking that subscription button, and make sure to leave all the notifications on by clicking that bell icon so that you never miss any video reviews from my channel. So before we move forward, let me first discuss the pricing. So there is only one single model of this RS7 and that is priced at 551,000 dirhams and 300 additional dirhams. Yeah, so I'm going to be putting the exact pricing on your screen. And there's also an additional pack that you can get on this one. You can choose to upgrade, which is like an optional pack. So that is the carbon or the glossy black pack which you get on this car. I'm also going to be showing you the bits which have been added on this one. So they look really tasty, and it's also, as you can see, a lot of black badging has happened. So all of that is a part of the upgrade. And also there are like steel brakes, RS, which is the part of the RS package anyways. So that's the steel brake, and in the back also there is a lot of carbon fiber that has been put. So that will additionally cost you somewhere around 50,000 dirhams, and the eventual price of this current model that you see is 596,386 dirhams. I don't know, I'm going to be again putting the exact pricing. So yeah, it's nearly 600,000 dirham car, but every single bit of that penny that you spend is going to be so much of a worthwhile, because let's be honest, this RS7 is a tech fest. It's largely improved compared to the previous generation. So let's start from the front. So you get this big glossy grille out here, again a part of the RS package, so which is why it's all black, but just the Audi rings are in chrome. And then you see this vent out here. Yeah, this is just normal plastic, black glossy plastic though, but it's not a vent or anything, but yeah, it's sealed for some reason. Yeah, they put that here. And at the bottom you would find again glossy grills, and there are like radiators inside, and also there are like vents behind, so it just channels the air. And there's also this carbon fiber on the side, and you would think that this is a vent again. Yeah, you're right, it isn't a vent again. There is another carbon fiber glossy one at the bottom. This is the part of the carbon package, and more slits at the bottom for additional cooling. This car requires a lot of cooling because it's got a 4-liter turbocharged engine. And when it comes to these lights, this is where fantastic things happen. So this is an LED. These are the matrix LED headlights, and they do all sort of clever dance when you unlock your car or when you lock your car. So every single time, that's a treat. So you should just get out, wait for the car to lock itself, because it will treat you with something. And also when you unlock, make sure you have a look. So yeah, that is something really cool. And it's also the dynamic lights. So you know, it's got the cornering lights inside it and every single thing. And also it's got the technology where it would blind that portion where, you know, on the opposite side of the lane, so that it does not blind the driver from the opposite side. So yeah, some clever features inside this headlight cluster. And when it's like, you know, functional, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Even like, you know, because there are like tiny LEDs inside, and there is also a DRL out here which also converts into the turn signals, which is again the dynamic turn signals. When you compare this RS7 with the A7 or the S7, which is on what this RS7 is based on, so in terms of the width, this car has grown by 40 millimeters, and which is why you would see a lot of thick arches out here on both the sides and also even in the back. And there's also the RS7 badging with this red strip on the R side, and you will find two pieces of plastic on either side of the logo, black one, glossy. So those are actually the radars, and it is a part of the Audi Presense, you know, the safety system. So the color that you see on this RS7 is the Tango red, and it's really hot, you know, during the day. I mean, literally hot when you see it in the bright daylight. So as a part of an optional upgrade, you also get these 22-inch massive rims, which are the anthracite glossy black diamond cut alloy rims. So and absolutely huge brake calipers, RS1s, even in the front and also in the back. And then you get again the part of the RS package, the steel brakes that you get, and also the Audi Sport inscription on the rims, more carbon glossy bit at the bottom, the part of the optional package. So yeah, lots of carbon fiber. You have to be really careful because it's all lined up at the bottom. And when it comes to the side mirrors, these are like the brushed aluminum ones with the power foldable. These mirrors are, they are also power adjustable, and they also have the blind spot warning inside them. And both the side mirrors are dimmable, and not just one. Usually it's just one, but yeah, on this one both the mirrors are given as dimmable. And the best part about the RS7, frameless doors. And not just that, these are double glazed windows too, so they give you that extra bit of quiet cabin feeling inside, so no unusual sounds or any disturbances. And there's also cool bit of RS7 lights on the door sill that illuminate at night. There's also the Audi Sport projection lights that illuminate at night. So a lot of things which are like quite tasty on this newer generation of the RS7. And a very distinctive feature of the RS7 is the coupe styling which you see. So you get this sloping roof line in the back. So when you look at the RS7 from the rear, you realize how broad this car is. That 40 millimeters gives it so much of that appearance. And because this car sits low and also it's broad, it's got a real road presence. Like you get immediately notice. It sits quite poised. And continuing in the rear, you get this huge LED light bar out here. Again, the entire rear LED light also does a bit of a dance. So I don't know, you can just watch it from the front, you can watch it from the rear. It's just gorgeous in every single way. So yeah, it would do that every single time. And then this huge LED bar, as I mentioned. So the look from the rear is absolutely stunning with these lights. I don't know how Audi have managed to just put, which is why I said it's like a tech fest in here. You get the black Audi rings out here, which is again a part of the black package. And there's also a spoiler out here that usually will come up when you are going to brake or when you need an extra bit of downforce. But there's also a button given in the air conditioning screen, so you can press from that and then you can manually raise this spoiler if you want extra bit of downforce. At the bottom you would find this huge piece of carbon fiber which is a glossy, again a part of the upgrade. And the bottom you would see two big oval shaped exhaust tips. My god, they sound absolutely incredible. Actually, have a listen to them first. Glossy plastic bit which has been given out here at the bottom. Now when it comes to the visibility is a little hindered due to the thick pillars out here which you see. So yeah, that will be a little bit restricted in some ways. And when it comes to the boot space, this is where you get a lot of extra bit of space that has been utilized because of the hatchback design that the RS7 is based on. And in this current setting, when the seats are upright, you can put 538 liters of luggage in the back. And also there are like tying points out here in the bottom, and there is also this netting which has been given so you can tie down the luggage. Even on the sides there are pockets. And there is this boot separator which can be removed. Let me show you. So when you remove that, you can actually put it inside the car too. And not just that, this boot separator also has like a blinder. So let me show you again. So there's like a blinder which comes up. So yeah, in case the rear passengers have a sun penetrating into the car, so you can raise this up and then you can manually fold it down. So that's a cool feature. And then there are also LED lights and also more hooks out here to tie your shopping bags. And you get this steel scruff plate which is absolutely shiny, like yeah, real shiny. I mean the shiniest bit I've seen on this car. And there's also a 12-volt power socket. And at the bottom, instead of a spare wheel, you get a kit to repair your punctured tire. So yeah, you have to just learn a bit of new things of how to fix your tire. But it's like a liquid and a pump which has been given, so you just put it in your tire and then it seals your tire for a temporary fix before you reach the next wherever tire shop or a petrol station to fix your tires. So the boot that way is a little compact, because the car actually is pretty sloping. So yeah, the actual space that you get of 538 liters is more horizontal rather than the vertical. Now when we fold these seats down, although these seats can be folded in a ratio of 60:40, but also from inside you can actually drop down the middle layer, the handrest that you can drop down. So if you have any longer objects, you can store that too. But from here, as a standard, you can fold down in 60:40. So when you fold these rear seats down, you can put 1387 liters of luggage. There's not much of a step out here. Instead, it's rather flat. It's just the seats are slightly sloping, but that's still not a problem because there is no step. So you can easily load your luggage in and out. And also, there's not much of a step out here. Now on the inside, you are going to be amazed by the fit and finish and the technology and the choice of materials that has been given in this latest iteration of the RS7, because it is absolutely fantastic. The fit and finish, the quality of materials. Actually, let me just start with the basic quality out here. So you get soft touch on the dashboard, and on the top of the dashboard you would get the carbon fiber design, just raw carbon fiber, which is so good. And even out here on the door cards you would find the exposed carbon, and on top of that soft touch materials. On the sides again soft touch, and at the bottom you would find the Alcantara and this brushed aluminum surround around the dashboard, and then this Quattro badging out here, which is illuminated. So there are lots of lights that illuminate this cabin, and you can change the color of the lights. In fact, the top and the bottom on the dashboard you can have a different light, at the bottom you can have a different light. All of that can be changed from the infotainment screen. There are lights out here too, so everything is rock solid. Although sometimes these glossy plastics can be a little bit of a fingerprint magnet, so yeah, make sure you keep wiping them. But yeah, as long as you keep them clean, this interior is absolutely polished and very well fitted. And when it comes to this driver's display, you get the huge dashboard out here with the big screen in the center, which has your dials on both the sides, and in the center a screen. All of that can be controlled from buttons out here. Now one special thing to mention is that the whole operation on this car, whichever gadget or whichever screen that has been fitted, it's very easy to use. That is what I have realized, because Audi has sorted out a lot of their options, and anyways their operating systems are very easy to understand. So in this also that is continued. So in order to see more information on your driver's display, you can just scroll down to see your fuel consumption, your short-term memory, your long-term memory, your driver assistance, in which it will show you the distance from the cars in front, and also if there is any warning or anything. And also you can switch to other information like your trip computer, the sport displays, the lap times. You can lap yourself while you are around a circuit or anything, and also you can do the lap statistics and everything, and also the acceleration measure. So you can do the 0 to 100, 0 to 200, quarter mile, half a mile, all of that you can just measure from the car itself. And also the reduced display if you don't want anything. But my favorite feature is when you scroll to other menus on the side, which is your media, your phone, and also the navigation. So there's also another button on the steering wheel called as the view. So when you press that, the dials become smaller and everything on your screen is big. So all the information, same menu options, but my favorite option is the navigation maps, because it just fills the screen in the center, and it's absolutely crisp, this screen. And it's actually like at par with the infotainment screen, which is quite strange, because a lot of times the screen in the driver's display is a little bit lesser in terms of the pixels. So this one is absolutely crisp, and this is what I have been using all the time, full maps and small dials. So yeah, for that, Audi has done a brilliant job. And when it comes to the steering wheel, this is a nice and big perforated steering wheel with this leather cover with this red stitching, and it's a flat bottom steering wheel with the RS logo on it, and these paddle shifters, which are a little smaller to my liking. I mean, yeah, if they were a little longer, but they are fixed to the steering wheel itself, so yeah, you are going to be finding it easy, you know, while turning and changing gears. And on your right side, you would find controls for your communication and infotainment, and also there is an RS mode button. Now this is for the first time that Audi has introduced RS mode buttons on the steering wheel itself, instead of, you know, going into the dashboard and then, you know, selecting. There are buttons out there also, but out here on the steering wheel, just for, you know, quickly if you want to change, you can do that. And on your left side, you would find controls for your the driver's display. You can find all the buttons out here, and at the bottom on the back side of the steering wheel, you would find a stick for your cruise control, which is the adaptive cruise control, and the speed limiter. So that is pretty easy to, you know, use. Everything has been well marked on the stick itself. And the steering wheel is electronically adjustable, although it's a little slow to my liking. Like, it takes a little while, yeah, to just, you know, go up and down, but nonetheless, yeah, it's an electronic one, and that's one more facility. Now when it comes to these screens, you get a couple of screens for different things. One screen is for your air conditioning at the bottom, and the top screen is your infotainment screen. Now the bottom screen is an 8.3-inch screen, which is a colorful display, and all your air conditioning controls are given on that screen. Now the one more feature that Audi has added is that these anything you touch on the screen has a haptic feedback. So this is so that you know that you press the menu. Now I think this has simplified the use of the screen in the cars, but it's still that, you know, the air conditioning controls are, like, you know, digitally given on the screen, so you still have to take your eyes off from the road and press the button so as to make sure that, you know, you are pressing that right option. But nonetheless, it's quite a sorted out air conditioning system, which I see, and it doesn't move around unlike other cars, you know, where the menus can keep changing and then you can use that screen for dual purpose. But in here, it's just for one purpose, and straightforward options are given on both the sides for your temperature control, your fan speed, the flow of air, and also at the bottom more buttons to switch it on and switch and, you know, the circulation of air. At the on the top, you would find buttons, as I mentioned, for your spoiler, and also you can switch off the screen from here. There is a button in the middle to switch on to the rear air conditioning. Now on this Audi RS7, you get 4-zone air conditioning system, so 2 for the front driver and the passenger, and 2 more for the rear passenger. So you can switch the rear air conditioning on from here, and also even control the air conditioning from this screen itself. So yeah, a lot of things can be done from this screen. Now when it comes to this infotainment screen, this is a 10.1-inch colorful display which has been nicely merged into the dashboard. In fact, like, this black plastic now makes sense, the glossy one, because it also, you know, merges this infotainment screen very well. Especially when it's switched off, you wouldn't even notice that, you know, there is a screen that has been given in the dashboard. But yeah, this is, again, it has the haptic feedback for all your menu controls, and on your main screen you would find 3 big widgets for your media, your time, or your navigation. And all these widgets are customizable, so you just have to long press them and, you know, change the options. And then you can scroll for more menu options for your radio and also for your media. And also in the media, you would find your different connectivity options like your Bluetooth and everything. And also there's also the telephone options. Again, when you're connected to the Bluetooth or using the USB, you can connect. And then there is the navigation option. So in the navigation, you get a full screen view, but as I mentioned, the driver's display is the best one because I love that. There is also the phone apps, which is when you connect to using the different connectivity options. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment system using the Android Auto, which is wired, and Apple CarPlay, which is wireless. For some reason, only Apple CarPlay works wirelessly and the Android Auto works wired, so yeah, I don't know why. and there's also Bluetooth, and also there is USB option. And continuing with the menu option, there is also the car option, in which you can change every single detail on this one. The Audi Drive Select, which is your different driving modes on this car, which is your efficient, comfort, auto, dynamic, and the RS1 mode and the RS mode 2. So both these modes can be changed using this button out here, and you can customize that modes also, where you can change every single thing from your suspension, steering, engine response, exhaust, every single thing. And also there's RS monitor, where it will show you all the details about the various parameters like your engine oil, coolant, brake disc, gear oil. Through lights and vision, you can change all the lights which I mentioned, the exterior and also the interior. And there is also the parking aid, the driving assist, and the settings. And when you go to other menu options, there is a deeper setting options, in which you can change every general settings on this car, the brightness, the language, the sound. When it comes to the sound, you get 19 speaker Bang & Olufsen surround sound system. It sounds incredible. There are also some quick options on your side for your home, your radio, your media, your phone, your navigation. So those are the quick options. At the bottom of the air conditioning controls, you will find the drive selector options, which are again haptic feedback. So when you press that, you can go to different driving modes and select that. But yeah, it's a bit tedious, because you still have to look down and select that driving mode. And then there is the traction control button, and then there is the parking button. Now these parking lights, there is this button which has been given, again is a touch button, so you still have to look down. I wish that parking button was mounted out here somewhere, so that it's just sort of easier to get to that, because out here you still have to find it sometimes. There's also the Audi Pre-Sense button, which is your safety system button, so you can press that and you can change the different setting options on this one, which is your basic, individual, and maximum individual. You can change every single thing on this, customizable. And when it comes to this gear lever, this is nice and chunky perforated gear lever, and a very good solid position that has been given, because while driving, this is such a comfortable one, because I can easily rest my hand on the handrest, which is soft touch, and I can rest my hand on the gear lever. When it comes to the storage, you wouldn't find much storage inside this RS7. So in the door cards, you can put like half a liter to 1 liter worth of bottle and some more storage. And then there are these two cup holders which has a cover, so when you open it, like there are two flexible cup holders, and there's also a slot for your key, so you can put that so it's out of your way and always where it is. And there is also a glove box which is lined with this sort of carpety material, which is pretty premium that way. And one handrest out here, but that handrest is pretty small. I mean, you can just accommodate your phones and wallets. Now there is also a couple of USB ports which are type C, which has been given. So that is what you would get in terms of the connectivity, just two USB type C ports. There is a wireless phone charger, and you can put your phone and then you can close this handrest. But there is no other place to put your phones or anything. So most of the times you would put your phone inside and leave it there, or you can put it in the cup holders, but then these cup holders are small, so the big phones don't tend to fit inside this one. Now on this RS7, you would find a normal sunroof, but for some reason on the spec sheet it has been mentioned as a panoramic sunroof. I mean, the roof is big enough, I would say that, but the eventual opening is a little smaller. So on this RS7, you would find electronic seat belts. They have electronic pre-tension, which is adjustable. So when you sort of put them and lock them in place, the car would sense it, and then it would adjust how much of tension is required in the belts while you start driving, and it would also adjust while you are driving normally also. And when you leave them, it automatically just retracts electronically. That is pretty cool. And when it comes to these seats, now there is something which I want to mention, and that is that if I had one absolute favorite feature on this RS7, it's definitely the seats, because they are brilliant. Like, these are the sporty seats, and they are very good. Like, the leather seats in black color with the red stitching and the honeycomb design in the center with this RS inscription on it. But they are super comfortable for some reason, and also they are sporty enough when you want them to be. And they do both of these things very well, and then they are pretty well adjustable. So they are 8-way electronically adjustable and 4-way lumbar control on both the passenger and the driver. There is also a manual extension for, you know, extra bit of support underneath your thigh, so you can extend that too during the longer journeys. These seats are also perforated and ventilated, and they offer the option of heating and cooling. Also on this one you would find an absolute crisp heads-up display. It shows you so much of wide variety of information like your speed. It also detects automatically the speeds on the road through the Audi Presense, and it will show you on your heads-up display, and also it would keep changing based on the different driving modes. So it will also show you the rev counter if you are in the RS mode, and the speed, and also the cruise control, the distance, and everything on your screen itself, and also some of your media options and the navigation option. Now because this car sits very low, so you get a lot of floor space, and which is why you would get that extra bit of room to, you know, rest your legs. And also there is decent amount of knee room, but the headroom is something, because this rear end is sloping, which is why someone about 6 feet may start brushing their heads immediately, you know, against the roof. In fact, I am almost like, yeah, just 2 fingers, you know, close to the roof that way. And in terms of the general quality in the back, it's again the usual, you know, exposed carbon fiber in the door cards, soft touch materials everywhere, Alcantara on the sides, and out here you would find the black colored leather seats with the honeycomb design and the RS inscription again on both these rear seats. And in terms of the seating, you sit really low in these seats, and when it comes to the space under the seats, you can like extend your legs a little bit, but it's not too much because these seats are like padded, and, you know, electronic, you know, motors and everything is inside, so not much space to stretch your legs. But in this RS7 you get a middle seat, but there is a huge tunnel if you notice, because this is a Quattro all-wheel drive system, which is why a huge tunnel is out here, but which is very nicely covered with this carpet sort of material. But when you sit in the middle, there's a bit of a hump, but now my head is already like touching the roof because I'm a little raised up, and this back support is a little harder. So yeah, for temporary purposes someone can sit in here, but yeah, for long term, you know, journeys, yeah, this is going to be a little uncomfortable. But there's also a handrest which has been given, which has these 2 cup holders, fancy ones, which open up when you press the top of it. And there's also storage in the back side, in which you can store your wallets and phones, like a small one. But yeah, this is a pretty neat setup, because if you are not going to be using the cup holders, you can close this and then use this entire hand rest. But otherwise also there is enough of space to rest your hand. There is 2-zone air conditioning in the back too, so dual zone, so you can control the fan speed, the temperature on both the sides, and there are vents in the center and also vents on the side pillar. When it comes to the charging, there's only one 12-volt power socket which has been given, and another 12-volt power socket has been given in the front near the cup holders. In terms of the storage, again, not much you can put out here. In fact, you can just put like 1/2 liter or 1 liter worth of bottle out here, and very slight storage in here. But there are these pocket storage like the netted ones on both the driver and the passenger seats. But yeah, apart from that, there is not much in terms of the storage. And also on this RS7, check out how low these windows drop down. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, just halfway. Well, you don't buy an RS car because you just want to commute about, you know, every day from point A to point B, but you buy it because at the end of the day you want to have some fun, and this car will make sure that you do, because powering this RS7 is a 4-liter V8 twin turbocharged petrol engine that produces 600 horsepower or 592 brake horsepower and 800 Newton meters of torque. 800. And while this engine is mated to an 8-speed automatic Tiptronic transmission, and if you ask me, the shifts from these are crisp and smooth. Like really, you wouldn't even notice, because obviously I'm in the comfortable mode, so right now they are pretty alright. I mean, once we go into the RS modes, yeah, they do become a little brutal, but in a good way. And coming to this engine, there is slight bit of lag initially when you try to, you know, accelerate. So that's the only bit where it will happen. Actually, you can even measure the acceleration, and you know what, let me just do that for you. So let me put it in the acceleration mode, change the modes from the RS1 to RS2, which is the extreme one. Everything you can customize all these modes, but yeah, 3, 2, 1. You see a little bit of lag, and then the turbos kick in, and then so I've managed to do 4.6. Now the thing is, this surface right now is out here is pretty sandy, pretty windy, and which is why the car can do 3.6 0 to 100, but right now it's been able to do 4.6. But I think maybe I'm not ballsy enough to do it, but I think you can definitely do it. But this engine and that exhaust note, because you get the RS exhaust tips, so which is why you get a fantastic sound from that exhaust. By the way, when you're in the comfort mode, you actually cannot hear it inside, but from outside it is real rumbling. But let me put it in the RS modes now. I've already done that for the acceleration, but again, let me come back to those RS modes. So RS1 and the RS2, both these modes can be customized, where you can change everything from your steering, engine, gearbox to, you know, the response from the engine side. Everything can be changed, even the exhaust note. So yeah, so everything right now is turned up into the dynamic, which is the maximum mode. And when you do that, you can hear the engine now. You can hear a lot of rumbling, lots of pops and bangs. In fact, from outside it is even more. And the thing is, when you put it in the RS mode, there are valves that open up, and which is why you are able to hear this insane level of noise. It takes a little while for the turbochargers to build up some boost, but let me even show you how it functions in the paddle shifts, because even they are crisp. Like, I missed one, but you can hear that. And you wouldn't even realize that, you know, you start doing way above 130, 140 in like a blip. In like a blip, you would just make that speed disappear and just cross that mark. So it's that fast. I can do that every day. I mean, I've just gotten this car for 2 days, but I've been just hooning about every single time I get into this car, and which is what this car is all about. You know, it's all about having fun. And that 4-liter is a proper German muscle car version. And there's also a central differential lock on this one, and the brilliant handling capabilities of this RS7 comes because of the Quattro all-wheel drive system. Now, the thing is, the power distribution is maximum 85% in the rear and 70% maximum in the front. This is when the tractions are, you know, demanding whenever they want, but that's the maximum values. But by default, the setup is 40:60, so 60 in the back and 40 in the front. So I mean, I wouldn't complain, because oh my god, that is brutal what happens with you cannot believe how much you can push this car, because only after you've done that you would realize there is one more step ahead, that you can still make this car go. And especially with the handling too, because the steering is something. Wow, I mean, throw this into the corner, little bit of spin, little bit of understeer, but it handles well. Whoa, that is something. Also, the thing is, the steering lacks little bit of response from the steering wheel eventually, you know, like the car handles very well. I know for that fact that it is doing a brilliant job, you know, handling the corners and whatever I throw at it. But when it comes to the actual feedback, it's a little numb in some ways, because let's be honest, this is an RS version. You want a little bit of, you know, feedback, a little bit of heaviness to the steering, which I feel sometimes is lagging. Even though I've turned the settings into the dynamic ones, it's a little load, you know, added to the steering, but not much, which would, you know, actually tell me that, you know, okay, like, you know, there is some bump and all. And this RS7 would deliver efficiency of anywhere between 6.5 to 8 kilometers per liter. When it comes to the suspension, you get adaptive air suspensions, the RS adaptive air suspensions on this RS7, and the stiffness keeps varying, because if you are in the comfortable mode you would have the soft setup, but if you are in the mode like I am in, the RS2 mode, that's the mode to have if you want to have some fun, then things are a little harder, especially if you are going at a lower speed. So yeah, you would feel a few bumps. So the solution to that is just go fast. Yeah, super fast. Yeah, and then you would make sure that, yeah, the car is pretty stable otherwise. But also, let me show you how planted this car is, because yeah, when I do a slalom, everything keeps flying around though, but yeah, when I do that, there is very minimum roll. Bear in mind, this car is 2 tons in weight, beyond 2 tons now, and in fact it has not shed the weight, but it has actually gained a little bit of weight. The chassis is very well balanced. It's very well done, because the chassis and the engine gearbox, everything worked in such a fine way, especially with the air suspension and the steering setup. It really makes this car sporty compared to the previous generation. It's a far improvement for sure. Now, when it comes to these brakes, there are 4 disc brakes, and those are steel brakes, which are again the upgraded one. You can also upgrade to the ceramic ones, but I feel steel brakes are more than enough, because you get the temperatures up in them quite easily. But let me show you a quick 0 to 100. The 100 is pretty easy in this one, and whoa, there's an emergency stop signal, and it rips your face apart. It just, my lungs were just behind. So it's, wow, it's just incredible. And plus, the heads-up display shows you every single information when you are in the RS mode, and it shows you the rev counter, it shows you the temperature of the engine, and even the speed, and every single thing. Like, it's just very detailed, and plus it's very crisp too. So yeah, the brakes and the pedal is pretty good, and especially with these steel pedals given, you can throw in a lot of weight, and then you can, yeah, brake good enough. Now, when it comes to the safety systems, the RS7 is loaded with a lot of tech. So you get 2 front airbags for the driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger, 2 curtain airbags again on your frames on the sides, and you also get child isofix points. Also, they have the cover on them, so make sure you don't miss those covers. There is also tire pressure monitoring system, there's ABS, there's EBD, there's something called as dynamic stability control, which makes sure while you're throwing this car around, the car is always stable and planted. There's also the traction control system, and there is also a fabulous 360-degree camera system. Super impressed by this one, because the output from that is so good. And it's not just that, you can select from I think 10-15 different views from when you are in the 2D mode, and when you go into the 3D mode, the car actually moves. Like, everything is 3D, and in fact that 3D car actually moves on your screen. And then even for that you can select like 3 different modes, like 2 sides and 1 on the back. So it's really handy when you're reversing. So ample of safety systems have been given. There is also the rear cross traffic alert, there's also the front, there is also emergency brake assist, like if the car senses anything in emergency, it would brake for you. There's also Audi Pre-Sense, where it would sense anything in front of you. It also even suggests you that if there is any caution in the front, then you should brake. And so much of clever tech has been put, which is why I keep mentioning that this is a tech fest for sure. Like, there is not enough that I can speak about, because though it's simplified, yet it's just loaded with everything. And anyways, for the price that this car is, I know it can be a little bit pricey to think of it, but when you think as a package, Audi has nailed it when it comes to the performance, or when it comes to the looks, or when it comes to the style, or when it comes to the tech. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. Thank you for watching this video. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care, and stay safe.